why should corporation follow that way of exploring mental models and beliefs? In reality, most of our corporations comes from, let's say, the Taylorist model 100 years ago, based on one belief, one model, which is a corporation is like a machine. We have to understand any little bits and pieces, and this machine has to be under control. Remember, we were calling this the scientific organization of labor. Scientific organization of labor. And of course, completely disregarding that the fact that humans, in fact, are part of this machine, and human, by definition, are complex. They cannot be controlled. But we were pretty successful with these Taylorist models, you know, that made a lot of very successful corporations producing millions of objects or things like this. And this is what we call a solid system. But the problem is that the world has changed. The world is now, or has been qualified by a very famous sociologist as liquid. The world is not, we cannot grasp it anymore, you know. So we can talk about uncertainty, about complexity, about many things like this, ambiguity. So let's say that the world is liquid. So now suddenly, or not so suddenly actually, it took many, many years and a couple of decades, but these corporations, these solid systems that we have built, you know, with procedures and control and things like this, these solid systems are now in a liquid environment. So the question is, how can you still operate a solid or rigid system in a liquid world, in a complex environment that you cannot really control or even understand? So in reality, as far as the uncertainty became, let's say, one of the key criteria of the world, corporations have to adapt. So it's fashionable today to say transformation, but the key of a transformation, you know, it's a bit like a metamorphosis. It's like a caterpillar and a butterfly. So we are a caterpillar today. So how can a caterpillar imagine what it is to be a butterfly? How can you plan, you know, from being a caterpillar to becoming a butterfly? Because you don't even know what it is to be a butterfly. So this is a sort of paradox, you know. And the blocking point is here: 100 years of Taylorism, control, scientific organization of labor. 50 years roughly of stability, predictability. This is over. So obviously, suddenly you wake up, for those who haven't yet worked on their models, they sooner or later, they wake up and they realize that everything around them is just falling apart. So it could be very dangerous mentally, you know, not just for the organization. So it is a necessity to transform, to use this word, for corporation. That's for sure. And we have tried many things, you know, in terms of transformation. Imagine the number of topics, of articles, of trainings, of programs that have been made around this. Do you see a huge difference? No, because here nothing has changed. So let's try to reverse the story. Let's start working on transformation from a process viewpoint, an operational viewpoint, after having transformed something here. And frankly, that's not so difficult, but it's outside of the normal thinking. Just discussing, just sharing, and just identifying our mental models, and especially the collective ones, is enough. Is enough. You don't need trainings. But if I say this to you, it doesn't fit in your normal model. I need training, I need this, I need that, I need concrete stuff. No, you don't need concrete stuff. You need to change something here in your people's brain, in our own brains, and this goes through identification of models and discussion and mental challenges and confrontation of ideas. That's it.